Welcome to Chaotic Harmony. It has been a hot minute since our last Spilling the Tea episode, and a lot has happened since. So, sit back, relax, and listen to my daughter Abigail and I spill the tea.
No topic is off limits, and we only know how to speak without filters. With a pinch of sarcasm and spice. In other words, we are people, not paninis. Don't get pressed.
Seriously, just don't.
Just don't.
Just don't. So, honestly, like I said, it has been a hot minute since we last talked to Abigail, and has anything significantly changed in your life since?
I don't know. I'm living the world free Willy now. Not free of Willy, but, but free of the nuisance of having a man to rest on my shoulders.
You mean man-child?
Man-child, yes.
Now, the thing that I have a problem with is I actually, so I want to apologize on Dad and I's behalf, because even Dad made a comment about, oh, shit, we didn't see that. But, you didn't really how do we know what it's like to live with someone, and we don't see everything that you saw. So, I want to apologize because Dad and I really liked Dakota.
And that was the whole point, though, is because, I wanted to be with him, and I wanted to have that life where my family wanted him around and everything, and I wanted that as well.
Yeah,
and I definitely didn't complain about, yes, I did complain about certain things, but those certain things that I complained about weren't, the huge things. They were things that I could definitely get over.
That's exactly what I'm saying.
The little things that, just, pissed me off through the day. It was the bigger picture that I really just kept to myself, and I wanted to really think about myself as my new point in life of me being an adult and working through things myself. I found in the past I depend on people. I depend on others to fix my problems and do things for me, and I'm not living that life anymore.
No, and I get that. And that I think that, I would like to be, known as the person that you go to with problems, and I do feel like you do that. So when you would complain about certain things, I would go home and, talk to Dad about it, spill the tea with him. And then all of it just seems minor. So then all of a sudden you moved as well. That's another big thing. You moved in with, you share an apartment with your two brothers.
Yes.
And they lived with Dakota. And honestly, one of them was it was a living hell living with him. And it's not that I didn't believe you.
Which actually makes me feel really bad, too, because said brother is usually very quiet. He's very, he does not like his opinions and feelings out in the public.
Honestly, he's the child that Dad forgets we have.
Middle child syndrome.
Yeah.
But, he definitely, hearing him say that to me after the fact was definitely just very eye-opening, and I think that's one reason why I have had such clear mindset about the breakup. I think that's why I have been able to move on the way I have, and why I have the mindset I do. He's definitely been such a huge support in that fact, because it helps, because he doesn't beat around the bush. He's
very straightforward.
He's very straightforward, very, very emotionally mature. So
yes.
With that being said, having him of all people validate how I feel, that's what meant the most out of this whole thing.
I hate to say this, but I'm gonna, because it is what it is. But you and I both dramatize things.
Oh yes.
So if
hence
it wasn't
our podcast right now.
Yeah. So honestly, if I'm just gonna say Garrett, honestly, if Garrett, your brother, the one that we were just talking about, if he wouldn't have said that, I probably wouldn't have believed 99.9% of everything,
Yes, because that is how I am. But within the last about I'd say a year and a half, I feel like that image of me has been changing for people, definitely, because I have changed and I am not that person anymore.
100%.
And so I think when people are constantly, especially lately, validating these things for people, it is definitely oh yes, she has changed. And so with that being said as well, that's also what's like making me overly confident lately, or like I seem like I'm avoiding my problems, or like they're just not there in my head. It's not that. It's just the simple fact that I see that I'm changing, and now it makes me feel so great that other people do. But even when they don't, I see my actions are sparking change in a good way to where I know.
Well, like old Abby would have called every 5 seconds, or probably have gotten rid of him a long time ago. But you
over
weren't
the stupid shit, especially.
And yes, so the fact that you weren't even saying, "Hey, Mom, this is what's really happening," that was crazy to me. It was crazy to me that I felt like, "Oh shit, she can't come to me." Like, what the heck? But in reality, I just realized you were trying to make things better by not complaining or arguing with him and so on. So that just shows like a lot of growth, a lot of maturity, but definitely a lot of growth, because I mean, you're a single mom. You have more important things you have to worry about.
Yes, but
you don't need to be raising another man.
Even above being a single mom, though, I've been, like I told my grandma recently, the hard fact is, yes, I love my family. Yes, I think about them, and you of all people know this.
Yep.
Yes, my family helps me in so many ways, and I am the most grateful for it. Do I always seem like a no because I have boundaries? Yes, people.
Well, not only that, because you get used to it.
You still set boundaries. Point being, though, is that actually, I don't know where my point was going with that. But point being is that I appreciate everything everybody does for me, but I've been very thinking about myself and my child.
That's the way it should be.
And that's the way I realize, especially with you starting to do your podcast, I've realized that just because I am a mom, just because I am growing and learning all these things, doesn't mean I have to let go of myself or what I want to do or the things that I want to do with my life. Because the second I let that start to happen is the second that I'm going to get into that cycle. And I know that the second I get into that cycle, it's going to be like everybody else I watch. I'm going to get depressed. I'm going to start doing things I don't want to do. I'm not going to let that happen. I got told by a wise birdie lately that I lost my hustle. And I think hearing that was the biggest, like, it wasn't even like a earth-shattering comment to me.
Because you were a hustler, and in a good way, though. Like, hustling to find a job, hustling to keep, like, you just were making money.
Hearing that literally broke me down more than my relationship, more than everything going on with my son's father, more than anything going on in my life. Without you even acknowledging that was what was going to happen, that is exactly what happened. Mm-hmm. When I started like pushing away or not talking to people and becoming different, it wasn't in a bad way. It was the fact that, okay, I'm going to fuck around for a little bit, but then I need to get my shit together.
Well, you kind of, sometimes in life, you just do, you do need to like pull back.
I need to and I realized that, and then this last 30 fucking days, boom, 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 I feel like I'm trying to get my things done. Now, I failed that one thing that you knew I really wanted, I really need to get done, in, Wakraka. I'm sitting back, I'm plotting again, I'm thinking, what do I do differently? I'm taking my time in a faster way. I'm sitting back, actually realizing, okay, what do I want?
Well, yeah,
how am I going to go
sitting
about
back
this?
And instead of reacting.
I'm going to try things differently.
Yeah, instead of reacting to situations, you have...
Exactly.
You have literally, I've seen you grow now.
I could have filled out that paperwork that week, went back, tried the same thing with the same judge.
And we're talking about paperwork for, like, babe, that is involving child.
With the babe.
Yep.
Trying to get him to be at one house for schooling.
And that's a big thing.
That is a huge thing. And it's
stability.
And it's a hard thing, too, especially knowing how Leroy feels about his father's house and wanting to be there. That's a very hard thing for me right now, especially with the way I grew up, the parents battling, especially because I know how it feels to be the kid to really, I try my best to give Leroy the best here, I really do.
Hey, I just want to point out, because I've said it to you a million times, I and I would hope that you would see it. I know it to be true because it was true. I didn't sit there and talk about any kind of court dates with you when you were, because
I know that, and that's exactly like what I need as parents for Leroy. That is what I need.
Yeah.
What I don't need is because all honesty, I'm going to take a step back as an adult, which I think that a lot of parents, especially my age today, and the generation before, do not want to do this. And this is something we all need to take a step back and realize is, whether you're the parent and you realize that your child does really need to be with you, if the situation is not, which it in reality is not that fucking bad, I need to take a step back and realize, like, I don't want to put Leroy in the position where I'm going to constantly be fighting, or we're going to constantly be fighting for him.
No, because that's going to fuck with him.
Because just knowing, even if you're not told about it, just knowing that is stressing your parents out, knowing that your parents are in court for you, that's a stressor all in itself.
Yeah.
That I don't want for Leroy. Especially with his learning developments right now. It's really hard because I know that extra stress on him in that way will make his learning journey so much harder.
Well, and Abigail, too, it's like you don't want him to resent when he grows up, because like you said, you're the product of it, and it's like when you went to your dad's house and then when you came back to my house, did you really like it if I talked bad about your dad? No, because he's half of you.
And even growing up, real talk, we had it great at your house compared to what I hear from so many people in our generation. Love my siblings, but our selfish little asses did not realize how good we had it. Me being one of the number one children did not fucking realize how great we had it. I hear so much horror stories, even about parents being together. It's like, holy fuck, your parents should have left each other.
Oh, and a lot of parents will stay together just because of the child.
Or that makes it worse. Believe that your parents, like, I thought I was sitting here like, oh my God, this is what I had, and that's what you had to grow up with. It just makes me take a step back and really just go,
it'd be a lot.
Yes, and especially with Leroy's development right now. A hard thing, and this last week, especially with FaceTiming, we've been doing different things. We've been communicating better. Good. We've been talking. We've been being more adults, especially me, because I took a step back, especially rereading things that I have said and I have done. I've overreacted, and I've said some awful fucking things to Tony and to his mother that it's like, okay, Abby, yeah, they said that things that hurt you, but they hurt you, and you literally went out to kill. You went out for blood. You
and
went
how
out
is that helping your son?
To sabotage. And it's not. No, I didn't. And it's like, no, did I say things that the court would care about? No, probably not. But I did say things that made me look like a crazy bitch.
Yeah, and ultimately you just want to work together because Leroy literally loves the both of you.
Yes, and so it makes me take a step back because they have been doing so much to help him.
Yeah.
Just yesterday, they had somebody at their house come to their house for Leroy to help him in that way. And then they communicated with me, not exactly how I wanted, but it's never going to be that way.
No, but you take
what
you can get.
Exactly, and that's my thing that I have to change. So it really makes me take a step back and go, like, what do I really want for Leroy? And that's what makes me, like, especially with the negativity gone and me trying to get not even just my romantic relationship, my relationship with my father. I've been,
I was going to bring that up, yeah.
Even taking a step back from that, I felt a lot of negativity melt away. Unfortunately, I don't like to admit, but not talking to my godmother as much, it hurts. But it has made me feel a weight off my shoulders and negativity out of my life at the moment that I don't need, that has helped me focus on the main picture more. Even just simply if I'm not dealing with those things one-on-one every day, hearing the negativity and then hearing things that I don't exactly want to talk about and I've voiced many times and you still bring it up to me, it's very hard for me to tell her not to talk to me about it. Because,
well, especially when it's like when they're trying to push you in a like
when I don't
in
feel
a
like she's
direction
pushing
that
me to believe her, but I really do sometimes. But my thing is, I know that
I'm not talking about your godmother. I'm talking about other people.
Yes.
Like they're
I'm
sticking their
talking
nose in there
mainly-
when they're not even in there.
Yes, exactly.
And it's like, shut up. This is my life,
like
my
I told
child.
that one person sticking up for dad. I told her that you do not
for
actually.
dad, your
yes,
actual
for my
biological
dad,
father.
For my father. I told her, you guys don't actually know what I do on a day-to-day. Because when I am doing things, I'm not actually telling you what I'm doing, unfortunately.
You don't need to. How old are you?
Exactly. I'm an adult now. I don't have to tell you what I'm doing all the time. No, do I need to fib to you? No, but do I also need to tell you? No. So if I'm telling you, oh, I'm working or I'm busy tonight, and I'm not actually, I'm just at home smoking pot, that's none of your fucking business. It doesn't matter at the end of the day.
I know. And you put me on Life 360 because you're single now, and, like, I can call you out, but I
even
won't.
above being single, I realized, so I've been talking, like, with Sophia again, my sister. We've, like, been recreating our relationship, which is another huge thing
She
to
was
me.
like your, like, bonus sister.
Yes, and growing up, you know how much Sophia meant to me.
Oh, yeah.
And as I got older, and I have all these picture books.
Wait, I need to ask, because I kind of forgot. Is she older than you or younger than you?
No, she's 2 years younger.
Okay,
or she's turning
for some
20.
reason, I always thought she was older than you.
She turned 20 this year.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So she's like 2 years younger.
I always liked her.
Yes.
I always loved your actual biological sister, Emma.
Yes. And so, like, recreating a relationship with Sophia, that's also been another great thing in my life. And I wish that more
Since
people...
our last podcast.
Yes. And I wish that's basically, this is going to be a long podcast.
It's fine. But you've had literally so many changes that happened.
There's been a lot of change, but I also...
So basically we're at, you dropped Dakota.
I dropped Dakota.
Bye. See you later. Don't come to my house crying that you love her with your twisted tea and making us believe all this stuff.
Don't be...
Sorry, Dakota.
Don't keep
love you. Bye.
On Facebook, because at the end of the day, I know what happened. And
you know what?
I know what happened in my heart, and you can go say whatever you want. Make me... If that's what helps you get over it,
yeah,
if
Dakota,
that's what helps
you
recover, go ahead. Say whatever you want to say. Make me out to be whoever you want to be, because down in the future, when ABC never works out, I hope you watch my jewelry grow. I hope you watch me become a
is
caterer.
a company that I supported him starting.
I hope you watch me do everything that I wanted to do, because I've already made step towards doing it. I hope you watch me grow and you stay in the same place because you put yourself in the same
and also I want to say something
and that's
to him.
for anybody, man, female, grandpa, grandma, mom, dad, anybody. You keep putting yourself in the same predicaments and you never change anything. You don't change your mindset.
You're going to get the same shit.
You don't change how you do things. You don't change nothing.
Don't expect a different outcome.
Don't expect a different outcome. Yeah. Just like my very wise stepdad. Don't get a big old head over this.
My hubby.
Don't make yourself a victim. Do better. I used to do it. Hence us talking about my growth and me being a different person.
Yeah, you were.
I would make myself a victim. I would manipulate. I would lie. I would do so much terrible shit. Don't be that person. Grow the fuck up and do different.
But that's okay. And I'd like to say to Dakota, if he is listening to this, R.I.P. No, I'm just kidding. I do not like it when people come into my house, make me love them, because you genuinely did that, and then find out you are a chameleon. And then go to my daughter, once you are broken up, and say, hey, I hung out with your parents, and they said this, and they said that. And some of it we did say, but we never said Abigail is a bad mother and shouldn't deserve her child or doesn't deserve a child. That is completely disgusting that you are that low to go that far.
To tell, but you know what?
Like, I allowed you in my house. I gave you my...
To tell people nonstop that you wanted me to be the mother of your children. To tell people that's like to go into your house and tell you, can I marry your daughter when the time is right?
And I literally offered my
fucking mom.
I offered my old wedding band to him and everything.
That's like
that kills me.
All these things, I could be in my bed crying so fucking hard because this is really just such a big stab in my back because I did do exactly what he wanted me to do. I told him exactly how it was. I told him exactly what I wanted. He wants to twist it, whatever. I told him exactly how I felt, exactly what I wanted.
I think he has mommy issues.
And whether he wants to admit that or not is not my problem. But just because you don't like what you hear, I'm sorry. I don't like what was going on.
Honestly, I feel like for you, the one thing that came out of it for me that I noticed was for you, growth. You finally, like, you were in it.
I think that was my final, step of, because we didn't actually, we didn't break up bad. It wasn't an awful breakup until he made it. And the fact that, and I know other women, other single moms,
you honestly did do
I did want to work on things.
Yeah.
Girls, I will say this.
Listen up.
Girls, listen up. And boys. Was it completely right of me to want to go have sex with somebody else, basically right away? No. No, that was not right.
Wait, but were you broken up at the time?
Yes, we were broken up. Was it only for a week? Correct. Yes, but
how long were you done with that relationship?
When you were sexually not there and faking it, yes, was that right of me not to share those feelings with him and everything? Yes, it was not right. Did I share those feelings? Yes.
Do you need
everybody? Point is, I don't have to share that. I don't have to justify that. Point is that if I break up with you, I want to have sex with somebody else, and I did not do so yet. I was just talking about it with somebody.
That's not cheating.
Did not do
You're
the
broken
act.
up.
We're broken up. I did not have sex yet. He wanted to watch Leroy, and that was the whole start of it.
That's the only hard part.
That was the whole start of it. Why he found out to begin with was because he wanted to watch Leroy very bad. He wanted, and I said, I don't know if
Leroy
it's right.
And him
I said,
I
don't know if it's a good time, but I get Leroy's gonna miss you. Leroy is really gonna want to see you. He's gonna be confused.
Yeah.
And we were gonna try to be separate, but still talk.
Yeah.
So, because how are you supposed to know if you're changing? How are you supposed to know
you
you're
were taking a step
person?
back
Exactly.
to look in?
We're breaking up.
Yeah.
We're living in completely different counties. That does not mean that we are together if we are still talking. That does not mean we are just on break. That just means we are starting over. We are in a talking phase. That's what I saw it as. Honest to God.
And he saw it
And he saw it as us being together and just taking a step back. And that was not the case. That was a miscommunication, and I kept trying to explain that. So, just because you come to my house and then you push, because I told him not to come into the room, not to cuddle with Leroy and I before bed, because we were separate. Leroy was next to him. I was on the other side.
Yeah.
Leroy went
this
to
was
bed.
Once we were
already broken up.
Okay.
Then he was really pushing for the sex. You know, he was showering. He was brushing his teeth. He got a haircut.
Took a shower.
He did the shit that I complained months about him not doing, and then I was
the teeth part I would be grossed out about.
It was so bad, but that was the worst thing. That was the worst thing.
Who wants to be kissed by someone who smells like
I've been
breath.
the only kid in the family to actually have teeth hygiene, dude.
You are majorly.
My hygiene is so bad that you tell me not to stop it because it's so bad at some point.
You would make yourself bleed.
Yes. So it's so bad. So
that shit breath, that's nasty.
That's so bad. So when he comes to my house and he's putting on that front again, and you basically are saying pushing that sex, and then
he probably thought that would make you want to stay.
I did want it, and that's the thing. I did want it. So then we had sex. I did finish. So I thought it was a good time. I thought it meant something good,
Yeah.
So then the next morning, I was flirting with him. I was being all nice about him. Well, then I wake up. He comes over the next day. After I told him not to come over, he came over anyway to pick his stuff up. He ended staying the night. We weren't going to do anything that night. I was sleeping. He was in the living room, and then he came into the room while I was sleeping. And that's when he went through my phone. And he, not only did he find the stuff...
And you guys were still technically broken up.
And we were still technically broken up. Just because we have sex does not mean we are together. Nothing. Yeah, we had sex. I get if you
and you
are
had history.
emotionally...
I get that too.
And yes, and I get that all. I get it all. I get his side. But if you are not emotionally mature enough, which I should have known because it's my fault. It really is. I put it on myself because I was breaking up with him because he was not emotionally mature enough. And then I did something expecting him to be emotionally mature enough. And that was my fault.
Which is...
So hence why I also did not break down when he had like these, oh my God, wild fucking...
It was basically
It was like a validation. It was a validation.
The thing we're talking about though, so it's
I went on Snapchat and then he found me talking to somebody I went to high school with. I had old nudity pictures in the chat and then we were flirting and we were sexting. And then there was a guy who my friend was trying to hook me up with. And we were also sexting because, you know what? Let me go through my weak hoe phase because...
Abigail, I'm here to tell you that if you were broken up and I am your mother, I am letting you know you ain't no hoe. I get it. Okay?
I'm just trying to, you gotta see... Because my whole thing is...
I get it.
I'm a bipolar gal. And
I get that,
if I'm gonna
too.
fuck you, I'm not gonna... Because my whole thing is, I'm gonna flirt the hell out of you for a week. I'm gonna flirt the shit out of a dude and I'm gonna sext him. Yeah, is that a hoe? But guess what? In this generation, the way I think of it is, if you cannot flirt with me the way I like, you cannot foreplay, because I'm a reading gal. Okay?
She reads between the lines.
I'm a dark romance girl. If you cannot flirt with me over phone, over text, or you cannot, like, give me...
She's a 50 Shades of Grey. Actually, your brother is.
But that's the thing. Figured that out. Who are mad talk, but I can decipher this shit because I'm a reader.
Dude, this whole sex thing
we're completely getting into
I'm sorry. Well, I am definitely... We are switching all over the place, but dude, when you brought up the whole... I brought up the whole 50 Shades of Grey just now.
Point is,
your brother owns ropes! What the fuck is that?
Okay, actually, we're going to get into that more later because I have this topic. This is about to be like a 2-hour podcast.
I don't even care, dude.
Point is that...
I don't want to know that.
Point is that if I'm going to flirt the hell out of you for a week, and if I'm not getting what I want out of it, I know I'm not going to get what I want out of you in bed. I'm not going to waste my time and put another body on my tick mark because that's gross. I don't want to be out here fucking all these people. I don't want to be.
So what you're saying is just because you're texting someone doesn't mean you're sleeping with them.
Just because I'm texting somebody doesn't mean that I completely like you. Doesn't mean that I'm going to have sex with you. Doesn't mean I'm going to hang out with you. I'm testing you to see if that's what I really want. When you come to my house and meet my brothers, that means something. When you come to my house in general, I live with my brothers. That obviously means something. If I'm out in public with you as a bartender, that means something. Because
if you look like Fabio and she's cooking some chicken Alfredo for you,
if I cook my chicken
might
Alfredo
be the one. Fabio, I hope I meet you.
Oh my God, that's not even the point.
I know, I just had to throw that in there. All right, sorry about that, everybody. Abigail had to take a massive shit, and I also lost audio. She told me to transition in there quickly. So we left off at Fabio, I believe. She is currently not dating, but having fun with a dude that we shall call Fabio because he has long, blonde, luscious hair.
I would say more than having fun, though. I'll be honest, like, it's kind of creepy. I'll explain a little on this because I like spilling this tea. So, we were talking about how...
Hold up, before you even say anything. The reason why I think it's creepy, because I have to be...
Yes.
I have to chime in here. Is Grandma Koopman would always have books on her bed, like on her nightstand and stuff, and they would always have Fabio on there.
You realize that Grandma gave me books growing up?
And I know!
That's a reason why... And also, my grandma Bernice, she likes to play innocent guys. Like, she's this innocent little church
Those are the ones to watch and hope for.
Yeah, because she goes, Abby, when I was in middle school, high school, go through my books downstairs. I know you love reading. Just grab whatever you want. And I'm like, okay, I like pirates. Grabbing this book. Oh, he's a sailor. Oh! He can sail this ocean, baby. He can sail this ocean. So, I mean, the pirates, the long hair, the dreads, I mean. Jordan, fuck you.
Jordan and
Ronnie Radke. Remember when we would
I don't even think Jordan listens to my podcast. Jordan is my bonus son.
If he does, Becca, if you do, I don't know.
Becca's my daughter-in-law.
To you guys, When we were younger, remember that band he would listen to, that emo band, and there was that one video.
There was a lot of emo bands.
Well, there was that one video in specifically where the teachers had their tits out.
Oh, good.
And they were walking around the school, and there was the fat boy on the bus, and we would watch it all the time.
I don't remember that.
Well, there's this guy with this long black hair. It's long as fuck, and he wears eyeliner, and he has tats all over him. He's Ronnie Radke, guys. And I was 7 years old. Pause the video, pause the video. And I make the boys pause the video, and they're like, oh my God, no, it's going to happen. So they pause it. Forget that I'm about to go kiss this TV, dead ass. And they pause it, regret it instantly, because I'm kissing Ronnie Radke on the fucking 70-inch TV.
You were like making out with posters.
I was boy crazy, and that should have been the first.
You still are.
That should have been the first thing you brought up to my therapist growing up. Guys, she's fucking boy crazy.
But the thing is, your
bipolar.
other parent did not think that you were anything, because he thought, well, if Angela's crazy, well then she's just making shit up.
She's just
Angela. Yeah. So anything I ever brought up, like, hey, your daughter's like overly sexual, he's like, yeah, no, she's not. We go to church. Yeah, okay. That's why Catholics
Catholic girls are the worst.
Not only that.
Sorry,
Priests.
Dad. Can I admit something on the podcast? Spilling.
Which dad? You have two daddies.
Both of them.
Okay.
But don't call them that. That's weird. I don't even like the fact that Leroy calls me mommy, because I know his dad likes to be called daddy. And
okay.
so
Anyway.
Yeah, it's creepy.
Yeah.
Point is that I fucked Jake in the church parking lot right before church.
That's your point?
Catechism. I'm saying Catholic girls are creepy. And I'm just spilling the tea.
You don't have to tell me that. I know that because I was born and raised Catholic.
Girls are fucked up.
And
because
it's
the simple fact that the more you push something not to do it, the more you're going to
want to do it. Okay, but hear me out. Now that we're talking...
why Catholic people have 11, 12 kids once they finally get married.
Exactly.
Because they can't stop having sex.
No, because it's fun. But now that we're past the, whole breakup, that's what we were talking about.
I didn't finish my point, though. Oh. Boys and girls.
Oh, here we go. Public announcement.
To finish this off, just because you want to have a physical connection with somebody doesn't mean that it always has to be emotional, and that's okay.
You're saying that, I'm old school.
But I'm also not saying, because this is speaking from being that person at one point, it's not okay to be throwing your body around and treating yourself like an object.
Exactly.
It's not okay to be just fucking everything in sight, because that is gross. Not only does that put a bad self-image on yourself,
you don't respect yourself.
No, it doesn't matter what other people think of you, but when it comes to throwing your body around in that way, yeah, it does matter. Because that opens yourself up for other people treating you that way when you don't need that. Exactly. I am a bartender. I will say I am actually respected by a lot of my older customers, and hence why I do have a lot of older men or a lot of older people hit on me, and a lot of times younger people shit on me for that. But it's the simple fact that I'm not throwing my body around. I'm not throwing myself around.
Well, you learned your self-worth.
And that's the thing. Every time especially since becoming single, every time I've done it twice now. Twice I have given my information out to somebody behind the bar, which is never something I do. And you know that because Dakota, one of the things he liked about me was because I was his bartender at some point, and I did reject him. Even in my worst relationship at its worst point. I'm a loyal person. I'm not that type of girl to just go behind the bar and fuck people. I'm there to make my money. I'm there because I like talking.
You're hustling. You're there.
I'm there because I like talking.
You have that personality like I have where you can talk to anybody.
And it's also,
and instantly feel like they're family.
I love learning about people. Yeah. I've learned a lot about myself. I've become a better person since bartending because I take lessons from people.
Well, especially if there's old people there, then yeah, you're getting there.
Most of my regulars, and now like becoming friends with people, I've learned that I'm friends with more older people.
I noticed that.
Than I am younger people, because I cannot stand the younger generation.
I noticed that because I did stalk you.
Yes, and I have Saturday. A lot of older friends.
And I was like, this is like, a lot of old people in here. What the hell?
And it's
But I was really drunk, and
because-
I'm sorry.
And no, you
I'm
know what
sorry,
though?
man, I was drunk.
Most of my crowd is older people, but most of them love coming in to see me, and I love that. I adore
Well, that
it.
just shows that you have a cool personality.
Well, I adore it, but you know one thing, and now here's to one of my other topics that I'm bringing up. We're gonna venture away.
Why?
It's okay. It's okay. Okay.
I really like this.
If you have something to say, but you know what? Moral of the story is
yes.
it's okay.
I do have one thing to say.
It's okay to have one friend with benefits. It's okay to fall in love. It's okay to, you know,
But it is
experiment.
not
It's not
okay.
okay to treat people like shit and to lead them on.
And also,
And it's not okay to be emotionally immature. Don't read people's families' texts. That's the number one thing. I don't care if you.
My Lord.
I don't care.
She just almost stabbed that
Sorry,
mic.
I get really upset about
Yeah,
this.
you're scaring me.
My
Just kidding.
boundaries. When I'm with you, when I'm not with you.
To all the men that ever want to date Abigail, the
Go ahead,
boundaries.
go through my phone. I don't give a fuck. I do have male friends. I have women friends. I don't give a fuck. Go through whatever. I don't care. The second you go through my family's messages, my family's stuff,
Yeah, like a group chat and stuff like
anything,
Yeah.
my parents' text, my brother's text, anything, that is a boundary you never cross. Because guess what, buddy? At the end of the day, even my friends, at the end of the day, my family is the most important thing to me. Especially after going through that relationship with my son's father. Of me feeling already after, because I was so little-minded. Yes, I was
I know,
very,
you were very.
I was all very, it was a,
You were closed-minded.
I'm a complicated person.
Oh, no
I
shit.
used to be a more complicated person in the fact that I stood up for myself, but I didn't at the same time. It's a very weird.
So I'm
It's
gonna turn the light on, Abigail. Keep going
It's
with your.
okay. It's a very
family
weird
text.
concept. Like, I let people push me around and easily manipulate me, but I also was not, like, I was a very strong-minded person. So it's a very weird concept. But
Going
my
through
son's father really broke that down in a way. Point being is that after that happening, after losing you for those 2 years,
Me?
yes,
Yeah,
that was a
sucks.
lot on me.
That was a lot on
After
me.
gaining you back, having that spark of hope, and then all of a sudden, for God knows fucking, I really can't fathom why. Like, I seriously think about it all the time, and that's not the can of worms I'm opening today. That's a different topic for a different day.
We had our.
But when I let that happen again, and I
let what?
when
Like
I let
you and I.
when I let a boy let me pressure me into pushing my parents away,
Yep.
I let that happen. I can't even blame that on him. Yes, did he push it? Yeah. But would I let that happen today? No. Watch what happened. When it happened, bye, gone. I didn't give a fuck.
Yeah.
Bye, Keisha. No feeling.
Yep.
I cannot fathom why I let that happen back then, but it will never fucking happen again.
Well, the one
Never.
thing is with your family, especially with our family, we're gonna say it like it is. We're gonna love you for
Yes,
who you are,
and I think
no matter what, and we
especially-
will pick you up and scrape you off the fucking ground if you need
Exactly.
it.
And I think it
We
took
don't give fucks.
I think it took that relationship and seeing that happen made me realize that. So after that, and then after a
Of reading
person
your
who
messages, yeah.
I actually let meet my child. I moved in with you, and then and you know I did not like what I was walking into.
No, you were
But
complaining
I
all the
was
time.
so rose-colored glasses, so starstruck by what I thought was there, and I should have knew it wasn't, because I, like, actually stepping back and looking, I should have known it was going to be this way. I really should have.
I thought it was going to be.
And
But
I
I was
let
hopeful.
myself and my family get hopeful, and that's what pisses me off the most about myself.
Don't let it piss you
And
off.
it doesn't, because
We want you
like,
happy.
you actually see how I am about it.
Yeah.
So obviously I'm not too pissed off about it.
No, we want you happy.
But I'm never gonna let that happen.
I just don't
again.
want you with a douchebag.
No, I don't either, and I'm not gonna let it happen.
So this is why I'm
Every
telling
time
you.
I've seen any little sign, okay, you bye. Bye.
Bye, Felicia.
I can be single. I don't care. Because at the end of the day, I have, and this is not in a weird way, I have the men I need in my life to help me lead my child.
No, I don't think that's a weird way at all, because you live with your brothers. Your brothers are helping with your son.
Not even just my brothers. I have my brothers. I have my number one, even my contact in my phone. My number one dad, my stepdad.
Hey, I'm not first in your phone?
You're my mom. Like, I'm saying men in my life.
Oh, okay.
I have him under number one dad. And I have my dad blocked.
He would hate to hear that. He would hate to hear that, though, because
he would, but that just goes to show, I'm not going to cry about it, but, like, because I know he listens. I don't want him hearing me be that person. But that's what I love the most about him, was he was never that person. He was never trying to be my number one dad. He was never trying to take over that way. He never asked me to call him dad, but he never asked me to stop.
And he also, he actually tried to force you to look at things a different way for your dad.
And he's always the person, still to this day, and probably after this podcast, he still to this day is always the person to be like, he is still your father. You have to put yourself in his shoes. You have to look at it this way.
Yeah.
You know, at the end of the day, he does love you. He doesn't, execute things the right way. He doesn't, he's always trying to be a bigger person, even when he probably knows, and I can't say that because he's very,
you don't know what he knows, like
exactly.
what he's thinking.
I never do.
I'm married to him for so long, and I still don't know.
That's one thing that, like, drives me nuts about Dad, but I love about him, is that you never know, but when he's talking to me, I know it's the truth.
Oh, yeah.
And that's when people tell me things, even Tony, like, creepy enough, my baby daddy, or my son's father, even when he tried that bullshit, when people try that, I look at them and I go, I don't believe you, because I'm so confident in not only my relationship with my dad, but in his character and who he always has and always will be.
He's helped me grow. True. He's helped me grow as a person.
And me too. And
not to give you a big head, babe.
And even if your kids are pushovers sometimes and are pussies and we are stupid, that is why people fear, and why your kids have a hard time making friends, why your children do go for beta people.
Because
we are so goddamn stubborn. Strong-willed. And, big-minded, that I feel like, and I've really felt, I've been thinking about this, I feel like we purposely seek for less sometimes, because we want to be
in control of everything.
Person.
Yeah.
But I found that when, especially meeting this Fabio person, I think it's fun having a match. I think it's fun having that argument, that matching energy there.
But the thing is, Dad and I have matching energy.
Exactly,
but we're also two completely different thinkers. Like, I think this way, he thinks that way, and there's no way around it.
And watching that is great, and and
I would hope that you would find someone.
Yes, and
like
that matching energy. No matter if you're like the same person, like Fabio and I, creepily, like, we are twins. It's fucked up.
What I was trying to get at the whole time was, after we talked about, like, if you were planning on dating, was I have a very good suggestion for you. And
okay,
now that we're already on the topic of Dad.
Okay.
So, my suggestion, and your type, should be tattooed.
Already.
Tough-skinned. Only has one feeling. Hides his crazy. Big-hearted and not willing to show it. Recently started playing Block's game on his phone and afraid to admit that he's addicted to it. Has a beard, hard-headed, and kind of sexy. Which also means my husband, your dad.
Fucked up?
Find someone like Dad.
I hate to say, like, the Sigmund Freud shit, but that's really, like, Sigmund Freud, people, if you're not into psychology, is somebody who basically says that, but it's in a fucked up way. Like, he's like, oh, girls find people who are like their dads because they want to fuck their dad. No, that's not true
No.
at all.
No,
but
I
the
think
fact
what
that
you see
I
is
thought
you are watching how he
I
is
want-
with me as a
yes.
wife, as a husband and wife.
Correct.
So you like that role. You see that role.
It's
and
not
you
even
want
the role
something
because I
like
do
that.
after especially like I feel that I have been finding my spark back.
And I see
I've
it.
already been here. I've kept that job. I've been keeping this job. You know,
Oh yeah,
I already went.
like when we say
I have
hustler,
found-
we mean she had job like hops everywhere.
Well, not even just that. I feel the hustler in me. Like even when you weren't around, you didn't see this. Erica and them. Ooh, I hate saying names. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. I'm not.
They can all, say what they want about me having all these jobs, but after I had Leroy, I had multiple jobs at that same time. It was for a while. Whether I kept them for a long time or not, I did that while no name, my father's son, he did not have jobs. I was the worker. And as a pregnant woman, and as a man, I'm sorry, I don't care what relationship role you think. My job was to carry that child to make sure myself was okay.
Yeah.
After being taken off,
And it was your first pregnancy.
in my position, I stepped away from my family, got bit by a dog, got blood poisoning, and then was pushed into having sex with you at a hospital.
Not me. You mean you're talking about?
I'm talking about
said
my
person.
yes, obviously. I
Yeah.
was pushed into having sex at a hospital. Did so because I didn't want
That is ridiculous.
Because I didn't want a doctor to walk in and see something and have a mental breakdown and all this shit, like, because he was constantly making, like, he was constantly pulling because I was very suicidal.
Kind of demeaning you.
I was
definitely.
very, very suicidal all the time. And there was this one place in Wapaka called the Quarry. The Quarry is where, like, these meth heads go to do drugs, but
Oh, we've talked about the quarry
for
before.
somebody very suicidal, the Quarry is not a place to have a block away from your house, because being right by the foundry, there's a lot of noise. There's a train track right next to it.
Oh, I see where you're getting at.
The Quarry is over 300 feet deep. There's train cars that are down there that you can't even see, damn near 100 feet deep.
So like,
I had a plan, non-stop. The second I got pregnant, I stopped. And he would follow me. He would follow me to the Quarry because he already knew I was there.
Yeah.
And he would follow me there, find me, bring me home. He would never tell, and I had a therapist I was seeing that I was not telling these things to ever. He would not, like, as a man, as a lover, man or woman, as a lover, as somebody who just genuinely cares about somebody, you would have told my therapist, or you would have contacted
Absolutely.
my family. You would have told my brothers. You would have said something to somebody.
You
Not
would have said something
you,
to everyone.
Not
just
you
to-
and your mom constantly demean me and then bring up the things that I'm traumatized about and make it worse.
Yeah, that's not somebody.
That's not right.
Not right.
And
And
make
you
it
don't need
worse.
to be with someone who's going to
No.
bring, like, nitpick and pick on you about the things that are like, for my mental
No.
illness. I would, if Dad were to be constantly being like, well, guess what? I don't believe you because you have a mental illness. I
Well,
would be
and,
like, oh
you
my
know,
God, and I'd feel like a less of a person.
You don't need that. And
That's
so
why I'm
another
saying,
big
date
thing,
someone like your dad. He's got
Yes.
one feeling.
I don't need
I'm
that.
just kidding.
I don't need none of that shit no more.
No.
And Dad
And you're
never
done.
does that.
No.
You know,
He is always
I will
taking
be
care
honest,
of me,
like,
protecting
back
me.
then
He should have left me.
was there things I saw that all of us kids saw and all of us processed differently that I liked? No.
No.
But there was also things that I never knew what was going on, and there was things I did as a person, no matter how old I was and what was going on. There's things that I should never have done either, no matter what set of mind I was in. So, like, everybody does shit. Therefore, seeing those things, doing the things I have done, even, like, in high school, all the things I already knew growing up, should have known not to do, still did to people.
Like the manipulation.
Yeah. Even I will be honest.
Because we're unfiltered here. We're just
unfiltered here. I talk about the Jake stuff not because I'm obsessed. I will say, like, there has been times where definitely I was.
Well, Jake was your first boyfriend.
Yes, my first love. And he told me, like, the last time I talked to him, he told me straight out, he's like, Abby, I am being kind of, like, not the greatest to you because I'm trying to just scare you away because I'm not the person I used to be, and neither are you. And you fucked me over, and I don't think, like, in his own words, I feel that he was telling me that I didn't move on, and that's why I was doing the things I was doing still to myself. And basically, like, Tony was my karma. And I'm not going to fucking realize things, and I'm not going to grow and get a better situation. And he could not have been saying this, but this is also what I realized.
Like
out of
how
it.
you may
like he told me, I'm not the same person. You need to, like, move on and realize that. He's like, yeah, we could reconnect. We could talk to each other, but that's not going to do anything for you. Like, yeah, of course, you're gorgeous. You always have been. Of course, I want to have sex with you. You were my best relationship. But you also, with that being said, you were my best and you hurt me the most. And
did you really think that you hurt him the most?
And I did. You know why? Because he tells me I was his best relationship. And what hurt me the most in that, and what made me take a step back, and this was after Tony. I reached out to him after Tony.
Yeah, I know that.
And that's when he told me these things. Like, we were going to meet with each other and go out, but then he kept, like, hesitating back. Obvious reasons. You left him, and then, like, 9 months later, you're pregnant. Obviously, because I was seeking out something. Because I obviously wanted to be with him, and I left him over dumb things.
I've been there and done that.
And I cheated on him. And then I told him that I left him because I was just so mentally unstable and all this shit. And the fucked up thing was, I told Dakota about this. And that's what hurts the most, and why I say he's flipping things on me. And this is, like, something I have not told anybody, so here I am posting.
Here we are.
Here we are. Raw, super unfiltered. This is the whole point. I feel very, very stung about that, and another reason why I just don't care is because I told him this without
Dakota.
I told Dakota this without telling even you, without telling Lucas, which is my other guy best friend, without telling another, man in my life that I just, reason why I really don't need another dude in my life. I have my best friend, I have my brothers, I have my dad.
Yeah.
Like, what was I getting at?
You were explaining why you don't need a man.
Oh,
and how somebody used something against you.
I told him that I fucked over Jake really bad. And I told him that I needed to leave him because I mentally wasn't there. I moved back to Manawa. I moved out of the barn. I was going through all that stuff. And I told him that, like, he knew that I was struggling mentally already because of my dad, and he was there physically to see a lot of the things. Hence why he was so understanding.
Yeah.
Then he left me. And
But you told Dakota all of this.
Yes, and I, like, was very manic at the same time when I left him.
When you left who?
When I left Jake. And I was like, I just started smoking pot. And at that time, I smoke now, but I know, like, now why I do it, the difference, things like that.
Yeah.
Back then, especially back then, because I was doing it, like, from shady sources and I knew I just didn't care. I was putting myself in shady situations and I knew I was.
Dangerous,
I just didn't
risky
care.
situations.
And I would never do that.
But
now.
That's a manic episode.
Exactly. So therefore, like, I played it off as that, and I knew I was, and Jake knew I was, and so I kept playing it off as that. And that's what was fucked up, because I wasn't, like, wanting to admit the real reasons, because I was very guilty about cheating on him. Very guilty, because I knew.
And he thought you were his best relationship,
because
even
because we did treat each other very well. we had a lot of respect for each other. When I was failing school and I was skipping shit because I was going through such a hard time, he was that person behind me, the only person besides Nicole, who is like I'm not talking to the most right now because I'm going through a hard time with that even.
Yeah.
He was the only person behind me telling me, you cannot be doing this. We can't have our future we want together if you're doing this to yourself. And he was constantly like trying to make me better. And I feel like that's another reason why I did what I did. And I'm like, fuck you. Like, why are you trying to tell me
so
what to do?
So you're ashamed that you cheated on him.
Yes. And I was, Abby, and I'm not anymore. I've moved on from it. Like,
I was going to say, because I know you're bipolar. You were diagnosed bipolar when you were younger. And all the things that you were explaining is, okay, so you're basically saying you feel bad.
It's all the
it's
episodes.
Mania.
It's all the mania.
And mania causes the hypersexuality and the
now
risky
that
behaviors.
I've moved on from it, I will also admit that, like, I have moved on from it.
But they also shouldn't use bipolar against you.
No, and he never did. That's the thing.
But did Dakota?
Sometimes, like, that's why I got really upset and I told you about how when we got into that argument after we broke up and he was here screaming at me and he told me, are you going manic? Are you just on a manic episode? That's why I got really upset. Because at this moment exactly in my life
feels.
I've never felt more clear-minded. Ever. And it's crazy.
But sometimes that can be part of the mania.
And I understand that. Yep. I really do. Because I was diagnosed at such a young age. And I can say, like, proudly that, you know, I know a lot of Gen Zers are like, oh my God, I'm so mentally ill and I go through this and that. No, I really don't feel like I am the same case. I did go through a lot of that. But as saying that, I'm going to say this and we're talking about mania, but I am unmedicated. With that being said, besides just smoking marijuana, I have my coping mechanisms. I do my jewelry.
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing.
I've gotten back into that.
You found all of the right coping skills. You have the support group. You have
cook.
All that.
And not only the cooking
I don't think you're manic right now. That's what I want to say.
Yes.
I would straight up hold you down and tell you, Abigail, something's not right here. If I totally thought
really
so.
Don't.
So if you were trying to get at like Dakota saying something and using that against you, go fuck himself. He doesn't know bipolar.
Exactly. Because you know what's fucked up the most about that is, I'll show you this, and I don't know if you've noticed
What the hell is that? She has a mark on her arm.
I have a mark on my arm, and if like people smiley, they're called smileys.
You burn yourself. I used to cut myself. It's a burning thing,
and that was always my thing. Hence hence when I first got my first tattoo, I think like when I remember back then, and I saw a little like bit of sadness in your eyes. And I don't want to say that because, like, it was really exciting going to get my first tattoo with you. But when I said, oh, it just feels like a burn in my arm, like it's nothing,
it was sad
I don't
to
care.
me
because after I said that, I realized what I did.
I knew.
And that's what sucks. And so with that being said, I've been very, very great for, like, since the last time I did that specifically, because that's always my move. But I always go on my legs or something. And the whole reason why I did it, because I knew I was about to go manic. And this is fucked up. Because you even told me, and I hate to say this again, super raw, unfiltered.
I am right all the time.
This is another reason why I've not been talking to you, because I knew we haven't had a podcast in a while. And I really wanted to make this a banger, because I felt like the last one I was laughing.
You were.
You told me not to test people. You told me not to be doing that. And I do it anyway because I'm your daughter and you know I'm just doing that. I'm crazy.
You're me. But a little worse.
I was really, really down in the dumps. This was before I broke up with Dakota. I was telling you, really just starting to get into Mom. I don't know if I want to get a place because I don't know if I want to do this or not yet, but I was afraid to tell Max. And, you know,
Max being your other brother that lives
here. Yes, and I am afraid to tell everybody about, like, how I'm feeling. He wanted to, he was starting to put money away, like, actually starting to do this, and then he actually started to get a job, but then you knew how I felt about how I had to fucking like actually be toxic as hell. And I hate that too. I did I have to? Probably not, but I spent a very long time trying not to be the toxic person. And I talked to many people, and I hate to admit this, but I talked to friends of his to try to go about, how do I do this?
Well, and then you also learned about his exes.
And that's the thing that sucks too.
Because you were trying to get an insight of, okay, how do I do this?
The thing that sucks about this is they tried to use that against me, and I get it. In the world that we live in, it may have seemed that way. Me prying and asking questions and going like, I get that this is, because I would probably word it weird. I would go like, hey.
I word everything
And it was to women most of the time, because, women are usually the tea spillers, and that's why I went about it. But sometimes, and I'm not going to name names, especially with the state of mind he's in, he's probably going to listen to this, and I don't know that for sure or not. I'm not going to touch the
could give two fucks.
But I am not going to be that person either.
You didn't want to be
because I know how some of his friends are about sticking up for themselves and their family, so I'm not going to be that person. But some of his friends or some people in his life, I will say, not just friends, or people in his life very close to him, were telling me these things of, hey girl, like, this is normal, and we really don't think it's going to change. We have seen change in him since being with you. But there are some things that you cannot teach a person. And I would tell you when said people would tell me these things. Or sometimes I couldn't even stomach who was telling me these things.
But at the same time, it helps you kind of go, okay.
And that's what helps me validate everything, too.
You were taking a step back going, okay, wait, is there really going to be promise with him? And then them going, guess what? He's actually like this all the time.
Yes, and so
and you're like, oh shit,
and
every
then
relationship.
When I'm getting told I'm not the one being mature and telling the truth on and just communicating on things, when I'm the one who sat you down and goes, hey, all right, so I've been worried about talking to you about this. I actually still, like, in my notes, because I thought about it a lot and it took me many, many nights, and you are the exact same person, so you know this. I typed it out. I wrote it in a journal.
Yeah.
I thought about it. I cried over it. I didn't cry over it. I got mad. I changed things. I changed it after I calmed down. I very, very much so thought about what I was going to say. I sent it.
I remember you telling me about it.
I felt sick to my stomach after I sent it, and then it took him forever, I felt, because when I'm telling you, and
you sent him a long message.
I sent basically a book, and then after we had a phone call. The phone call didn't go the best as I wanted, just the reason why I sent the letter.
Well, and it was my problem too, because I told you, Dad and I, if we ever get into an argument, we tend to do a better communicating when we're going through text, because then we're not.
That's fucked, and this is why I wrote back to the Jake thing, which not to like keep rooting back, but this is like a life lesson, which I can actually sit back and give props to his parents for this. I really will, and I will say for any girl, like, I never want that with him. I will proudly say that, like, I'm still very young. And this all has happened so fast for me. All of these relationships, all of these lessons, all of this stuff in my life.
It's kind of hard to absorb it all.
It's crazy. So I'm turning 22 in like almost a month now. Literally.
Oh my God, I'm getting old.
My phone's dead. But almost a fucking month. I'm going to be 22. And that's also another reason why I sit back and I'm 22. Like, holy shit, I need to like actually start doing things different, because I see these people and I'm like judging them like, the fuck, you're 26 and you're like this, and I'm like thinking, holy shit, like that's still actually really young.
Yeah.
And so
it's good that you got rid of the old baggage.
I go, yes, I do feel like, and that's another reason why with Fabio codename, I will, like, yes, I do feel a little starstruck, but at the same time, I'm going to take my time. I am going to tread carefully. I am going to take
the lessons that you've learned.
Yes, and I'm taking the lessons I've learned, but I also feel confident at the same time that I don't, even if I do, and if it gets to the point where, hey, one of us does feel like we want to take that step into the water,
yeah,
I might say yes, just because of the fact that I did go through all of this in such a short amount of time.
Well, yeah, that's a lot.
It is a lot. But at the same
it's like,
time,
when did you have time to breathe?
All of this, I have felt so alone.
But yet you have never been alone.
And I've never been alone. And with this person, and with what I want and what they want is the same thing. They basically have... Fabio basically has everything that they need in life. Expresses that.
Wait. Hold up. Is he called they, them, or...
No,
okay.
I would just say
You're
they
just saying
because
they.
I'm not going to name
Lord.
names and bring anybody
No,
into
we're just calling him Fabio.
Yeah.
Because he's got the long, luscious locks.
He's so gorgeous. Oh my god. I'm going to
my
blush.
gosh.
Stop talking about it.
Well,
Because every time...
Well, you keep talking about the breakup.
The thing is, every time, like, okay, point is, stop
I think
distracting
you need...
me.
No, I'm not I've barely been talking. What I'm trying to get... Point is... You learned your lesson with these.
I learned my lesson.
You learned who
and
you
at
were.
the same time, like, even I was so very happy with Dakota. And I will say that. I was so happy. And then there was the night that it started where I was alone. Most of the times I was sleeping.
Yeah.
And then started the times where it was like a couple hours before you have to go to work.
Yeah.
And then I'm getting woken up a couple hours before I have to take care of my son. And you're expecting things.
Yeah. That's
and then after I just go, yeah, I'm going to give you what I want. I'm going to pretend because, like...
I'm going to pretend to
enjoy it, unfortunately. And I never wanted to be that person. But I felt like I was so stuck in this habit. And I was... explaining this and it was not being respected or listened to that I was just like, whatever, I got into the habit. So then I gave it to you. Then I had to wake up a couple hours after to be your mom and then wake up a couple hours.
Did you feel like you were emotionally supported?
I really did not ever. And why do you think there was so many times I was calling you crying?
I know.
And then so many times and then I did start convincing myself, like trying to lie to myself, and I can't do that anymore.
Oh, no, you lied to yourself so much that we all believed it.
Exactly. And that's why I tell myself I can't do that anymore, and why I'm just so over it, and why I am just like okay with if I do just move on. Because at this point, I don't want to move in with anybody.
Are you wearing Grandma's watch? I have major ADHD.
Yeah, I am wearing Grandma's watch.
Sorry.
Our stuff unplugged and everything, and then I felt like I thought we were gonna lose it.
Yeah.
I thought we were gonna lose it, so I went and put Grandma's watch on because I didn't want bad luck.
I love my grandma. Oh my god.
Sorry,
I didn't mean to get off track. So basically, Abigail,
it's okay.
what
She's
it
my
is?
good luck charm. This is what I wear for my
Yes.
good lucks, and actually every time I've worn it, like I always do really good at things.
So,
and I feel like I'm doing really good right now because
you're over talking and not
I'm
letting me
over
talk.
talking. I'm sorry, but this is Spill the Tea, and you
Yeah,
started
so
the
the
episode
tea
basically about Abby.
I know, I did. So the tea basically is you got rid of the tea bag, douchebag.
Yes.
You learned your self-worth. You learned what you want, what you're not going to put up with.
Yes.
And you also have shown me that you are being the bigger person because you're not on Facebook posting, this is what it's like having a woman and then not having a woman.
Well, also, if you have
you're
noticed,
not posting anything.
when we were even together, I was posting a lot of stuff on Facebook. Just
and he would post nothing, like he would.
Stuff.
There was nothing about you guys on his, but now all of a sudden you break up and it's all about his heart being broken.
But it's not even that. Like I was just posting, even if it wasn't about us, it was just stupid things, like anything. Yeah. I was just on my phone a lot more. I felt like I was just not doing anything with my life. Lately,
you haven't had time.
I'm getting, my jewelry is now going to be sold.
Finally. I've only been telling you to do
tonight, while I'm getting paid, to go work at one place and do the same thing for them, start trying to get their stuff out on social media and try to start,
You're helping
promote and get more people in the shop and do different things in there. I am getting offered via another opportunity through that.
Yeah.
I get to come up with and this is like small strides in my opinion.
I don't think they're
what
small.
I was doing in life. I get to come up with a specialty drink menu for the bar to try to attract more people, because I was complaining about how, like, hey, yeah, I'm making good money at Jen's, but we could be doing better. And I have customers coming in all the time telling me, like, hey, we love your energy and we love you as a bartender. It's like the old Jen's was.
Yeah.
And we want that for Jen's. And I like hearing those things, and I want to help Jen do that.
So you basically set that phone down
and I love
started
working.
like doing your hustle.
Yes, and I feel my hustle coming back, and I thank my boss for that as well.
Good.
Especially because she is like such a strong businesswoman.
It is hard to be a businesswoman.
And it's hard to keep a business open that long, especially a bar.
Yeah.
And I love the bar industry. And I told you one day, and I can't remember if it was you or somebody else, but it was one of my mother figures. It was like, I have many. I have my work mom. I have Aunt Mary.
I met your work mom.
You know, like, I love Deb. But point is that I also see so many bad bitches in my life that I want to be that. And
that's
you know,
good. Strive for that.
I grew up going to Jen's. And so I don't know if she's in here because I shouted out to her. So
shout out to Jen's Naughty Pie.
But I grew up.
Go get yourself a drink.
I grew up going there.
Hang on, she's an Angelica. I'm just trying to help.
I'm just trying to help. I grew up going there. And it's always been a vibe. Always. Even now going there.
Well, because she's hot.
Like, she really is.
She is hot.
And when she tells me, like, all the time, she'll be like, you have such a cute outfit. And she's always complimenting me.
But yet she looks like she's got plastic surgery and makeup, and she's just all...
She's just so beautiful. And she doesn't. She's an herbalist.
That's the thing is, she
does a lot of... She just takes care of
down to earth, too. She's very down to earth, and people don't see that.
And I think the thing that, like, the day that I really said to myself, and that there was a day for Larry even, like, for Schuler's. Because even today, like...
And that was at the other bar you were
This was at the other bar.
Yeah.
And I had a very like complicated relationship with them because of all the people that he was hiring and all the drugs that was happening there.
And I also think it was a lot of your mind too.
Yes, and especially having all that negative like stuff at work and then at home, that really sucked.
Yeah.
And I really loved working for Larry, and I loved his daughter and all that. So it was just really hard. And I love working in the bar industry, and it's very hard finding a positive bar environment.
And then, now it's like you found your second home.
Yes.
To work at. So it's not like you're going to work, you're going there to have fun.
And I told somebody that, well, not even that too, because I love working at the bar. And I love working with people.
But that makes the time go faster. That makes it fun.
Yes.
That's what I'm saying.
And, you know...
If you enjoy it, then it's not really work.
And I think another thing I, like, enjoy... like I was saying, the day that gave me for Schuler's was the day that... Because Tony and Erica were the ones that told me to go apply at Schuler's.
Yeah.
They'll hire you. They know us. They like us. And I was like, okay... Yeah, I'll go apply, and I use them as a reference. And at first, I don't know if like they took that reference very well, but they liked me, and I think they also just were hard up for help. So Larry's like, yeah, come in, I'll give you a chance. And then I got to work basically from like their scale of employment from the ground up. I felt to being head chef. And that actually meant so much to me.
Well,
and
yeah,
you know that.
Yes.
I talk about it still to this day, just because...
You are an excellent cook.
And not only did it teach me a lot about what I can do in the kitchen and as a person and as a worker, but I made a lot of relationships that I maybe didn't work so well there, did work well there, or to this day, I still go back there. And when I went there very recently after I broke up with Dakota. because he was constantly like, I wanted to go there for a very long time, and he was constantly really shitting on that idea. And I was told a lot of things about how it's really good there now. And
you wanted to check it
point
out.
is that I'm keep skipping around. I'm sorry. I like talking, and
we talk in circles. We kind of talk like Trump.
Yeah, we talk like Trump.
Right? No. He calls it the weave.
The weave.
We've got the weave. So you basically
the day that they earned my loyalty, no matter how bad things got, and still to this day, like, I will never go back to Wapaka. But if the new thing going on with you and Colton and everybody is wicked, if a tornado came through and it happened to be the Wizard of Oz and the yellow brick road led me back to Schuler's and that was what I had to do, I would do it. Yeah. Because they had my loyalty. Because when everything was going down,
they took you back how many times?
Well, they took me back, and it wasn't like, there was times where I left on the spot, but they knew why. Yeah. And they respected why. But they still took me back with open arms, the same pay, if not more, the same opportunities, the same respect.
Yeah.
Every time.
You ain't gonna find that.
To this day, when I walk in, Larry lights up. When I used that family as a reference and they would come in as customers, after everything that happened with, Leroy's dad, after all of that, they were no longer allowed in that bar. Today, now that I moved,
that's huge.
And there was a day that actually, after I quit and I wasn't talking to them for months, I was not in there for months. Amanda, his daughter, the owner's daughter, who basically is like general manager without that title.
Yeah.
I don't know now that I heard things changed. I think she is. I'm not sure. I can't quote anything, say anything, but she definitely deserves it, girl. Point is that she texted me out of the blue one day, and I was like, I don't know why I opened it. I just did. And she said, hey.
Like, what, was that on Snapchat or something?
It was on Snapchat and then Facebook.
Oh, I don't have Snapchat, so I don't know how it works.
And she said, hey. Because they knew all the lure. Because when I was working there, you knew, I was working like 16-hour shifts sometimes. And then especially...
And you can't keep your mouth shut, obviously, so everyone knows your story.
Yes. And I became really close with my work family. That's just the environment that is there because you work there so much.
But they helped you build those skills.
Yes.
To help you with
I will say,
Jen. So
all the lure about this Kyle person. I won't edit that out. There's so many Kyles. You knew all the lore about that, but above all that lore, he taught me a lot of lessons about that industry.
Because he was old.
Oh, because he's old. Well, he was just older.
He needed pills.
Yeah, he definitely did. I think that's why he was
He had the
ED.
Yeah, the ED.
Definitely had the ED. I'm sorry, everybody wants this.
Sorry, Kyle from Schuler's. You have ED,
Mom!
your daughter says.
Oh, yeah, obviously it's obvious now. Point is,
Abby says it, not me.
He taught me a lot of lessons about, even though he wasn't manager, and then he probably should have been given the title over mine, and he still bossed me around when I was executive, head chef on the shift.
Yeah.
He definitely taught me a lot about life, but about being a boss and about being a hustler and how to do things.
Yeah.
So above everything, that bar has taught me so much. So hence when I found Jen's, I never thought that I would find another bar.
Basically another Schuler's.
Another Schuler's, in my opinion, but better.
Yeah.
Because it's something that I grew up going to. I meet people who know John, who know my mom, and I hear, and above what you think about how your family has trashed your name, believe it or not,
meaning my
when
mom, my
people
dad, my
hear
brothers,
that Angela Masty is back, they're actually so oh my god, if she ever comes in, that'd be cool if I saw her.
That's crazy to me because my name was majorly
tell your mom hi, and then I'll forget who the fuck they are telling me to tell you. There's so many people who come in and tell me tell your mom I said hi. She'll definitely know me, and they have only good things to say about you. That's why I'm always telling you and Dad, come in for supper sometimes. Come in.
Yeah, that actually embarrasses me.
It's not even.
You. It's my name. It's what my parents did.
I've
family
never
did.
I've never been disappointed to say who you are. And like this is rooting back.
We had a major
and this
issues.
is like rooting back to the thing that got this. Oh, this worked perfectly because this loops back to what Jen did that gave her my loyalty no matter what. Honest to God,
well, you
it's
did the
because the weave, perfect Donald
Yeah.
Trump move. Love you, Daddy Trump.
Oh my God.
So with the bar that like working at Enough Said, which also taught me so much because they
Enough
gave me,
Said
like,
being the bar that my mom and dad
which they tried to trash Mom's name.
owned. Well, actually, Grandma owned it. Kinda, didn't she?
Yeah.
I have proof if you'd like to see it.
Yes.
I wasn't even going to bring that up
gladly
ever, but
I will, and
it is stressing me out,
I've just
actually.
kind of ghosted everybody because I'm waiting because I
want you
waiting
to
because
finish the
I
weave
know-
so that I can
I'll
get to
finish
what I was
the
going to
weave.
say.
Yes,
Holy
because
crap.
we'll root
You
to
just
that,
brought
actually,
up.
that's perfect.
You just brought that up,
Because
and
that
I
kind
have
of roots
to.
with everything else
Yeah.
about your name.
My name.
Point is that
I'm
when
gonna get my
I
name
worked
back.
at the bar, there was a lot of people who like used to go there for the food, which makes me obviously
Which bar?
Enough Said.
Enough Said
So
is
guys,
the bar. Once again, you worked at a bar that my parents owned.
so they used to
in
own
Black
Big Rig
Creek,
Specialties, which was on Main Street in Black Creek.
Wisconsin.
And everybody loved our pizza, and nobody can fucking deny that because it was the goddamn best pizza.
My dad
and
makes
even
good
I
pizza.
will say that. And people, hit me up, shout out on my DM me on Facebook because I'm coming up with catering ideas, and I actually have.
Hey,
this is the
let's
thing.
not do the weave again.
I'm gonna finish this week quick because it goes with it. Okay, I'm sorry.
Okay.
My catering business. I seriously debated on the pizza, and he told me I'm not writing it down because I don't want no one stealing it. I don't want no one stealing it. His Alfredo. Why do you think my Alfredo's so fucking good? Everybody underestimates me.
I barely know my dad.
That recipe book over there is filled with generations of family recipes that people don't fucking know that I have. Because I remember shit. That old man doesn't realize that I literally, and that's the thing that like disappoints me, which is like we'll loop back for you there.
I have daddy
I won't
issues,
even bring
literally.
it up there, but I remember so much from that business, from that bar. Point being is that a lot happened in that bar, and your family is so dramatic, and they have to try to spill the tea about everybody, trash everybody's names.
To make them look better.
They fuck everybody over. Hence, going to Jen's and having my cousin, and since she wants to be that person, I guess I will.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
Because I don't feel bad now because usually I'm not this person because, usually we don't use names.
But Robin, I'm going to say
it.
But
Robin,
yeah,
because she's doing this to everybody all the time, so I don't care. She does this, and it really upsets me because there's been times as a teenager that I have helped you, girl, and I don't know if you listen because I plug this shit to you too. I plug it to everybody.
Thank you.
But point is that you know that I stopped talking to my family on that side. Even though, yes,
you
the Masties, most of the Masties.
Okay,
like,
my maiden name is Masty.
Mainly,
yeah.
I still talk, like, if Gerard, like, he hit me up for the wedding. He has been hanging out with Grandpa, but I said yes.
Oh, thank you.
Because I would love to go. My cousin Miranda, I loved growing up with Miranda. Do we talk now? Not a lot. But when I go to her wedding, will I be there with some beautiful flowers and a lot of love and shower her in gifts like she deserves, like the princess, the Masty princess, because I think she is just the most gorgeous person
she's also
in our family.
An amazing
she is
hustler.
So hard fucking working.
Yes.
Smart. And the thing is, like, and I hate to talk bad, but this is like the part of the Masties that I grew up with, not most of us, because especially moving back to Pulaski and growing up, and as Jen said herself, she is letting me create my own reputation.
I love that.
I am learning so much about other people in my family just about sharing. Like, they're like, we know you from somewhere. And I'm like, well, I'm the business girl, I call it, of the family. Like, I am a hustler, like you say. Yeah. I worked on the farm for years. I worked in both of the family businesses.
Yeah, you
Point is that day when Robin came in and was saying, like, oh, yeah. Because the people will say, who are you? And I'm like, oh, yeah, I'm a cosplayer. Like, how this started was that I know you from somewhere. Yeah. A group of my customers. I'm like, oh yeah, well, I'm Abigail Kozlowski. I always introduce myself as my full name because, like I said, the business
your father's last name.
I am trying to, network myself as a bartender, as a person, as a smart person does. I'm just, I'm that person. Yeah. I'm Abigail Kozlowski. I'm from the area. I grew up in New London. I give my backstory, hence why, like, some people love coming to see me. Yeah. Not to brag about myself. And she goes, and she stops me from, like, networking. And, like, these people are, the fuck, give her this stare. And she goes, she's a masty. Don't let her fool you. She looks like a masty. And then she goes, you reek of masty. And all of a sudden, like, I said, yeah, but my last name is Kozlowski, and, like, I saw them a lot more than, my Masty side, and she's like, oh, yeah, but still, you're still a Masty, that's my cousin, yada, yada, yada. So I was just quiet, because, like,
well,
I'm not gonna like actually start to spill the tea on what her afternoon was like already.
No, she's an attention whore.
Obviously, especially all the time. And that's one of the reasons why I don't associate with her. One of the reasons, like, yeah, I'll serve you. I want your money. Like, come in, give my boss money. Like, I'm going to be nice. I'm not a mean bartender.
But she shouldn't be sitting there trying to trash talk your family.
Yes, and then all of a sudden, I forgot, like, we were really busy when this was happening, but then she started saying something like, yeah, I know her family, she worked, like, and then she was just mumbling something, and then Jen was over there talking. Well, then all of a sudden she started saying, call me later, Jen, just call me later, and I'll tell you all about this and that. And that's when Jen, and I was like, right, and I don't know if Robin knew if I was still there or not. Point is, whether I was or not, you don't do that, especially, I told Robin, like, a couple nights before not to be telling people that about who my family is and stuff, especially after the stuff you're going to get into. I don't know, we might as well, like, maybe, I don't know, I'm not going to point is
I have a lot of anxiety about what you want to lead into.
Point is that about everything, like, that I have found out recently, I did not tell anybody things. I told Robin when she came in, because we were really, really slow. We had, like, 2 customers, and she was asking me why I just up and argued.
Was this before she, like, called you out?
This is before all of this. Point is that, like, I'm telling you this because this is what validates what
I know. I
Jen
just want to make sure we're on, like,
we're all, I'm just reminding the audience and
she needs to take another, like, hit or something to slow down.
Well, this is, like, I've actually, like, I told you, I'm not even looking at a lot of this small list because I told you I had a lot I wanted to talk about
this
today.
Was a lot, yeah.
Mom and I also have not spoke, and she was actually afraid I was pushing her away, but it was because this is basically her therapy, which is kind of turned into mine with you, and that's why I love this. Because this is our version of therapy, is spilling our tea. We're gossip gals.
So back to Robin.
Back to the Robin shit is that she came in literally 2-3 nights. What time is it? Literally 2-3 nights ahead of this, and was asking me why I up in RUONFT. And
that's what we always say. RUNNOFT.
and I was telling her, well, I told her vaguely because I know who she is, but I also don't want her running her mouth, right?
Exactly. So you're in a new place. You don't need that old baggage.
And I thought that her stomping ground was like Black Creek, Seymour,
I thought it was the swamp.
Nichols area. Yeah. Well, the swamp shut down.
Oh.
Point is that, so we have been getting a lot of their business, which I like, but point is that
she decided
she comes in, she's like obviously prying. So I told her, well, when I left, I was, going through a lot of stuff, and they were also going through a lot of things, and I started to feel very, like, shady vibes, and I told her...
You left enough said my parents' bar.
Yes, and I literally told her, not that it is your business, Robin.
Yeah.
Because I know you tell people things, and she's, oh, no. And I said, but there was family drama going on, and I had way too much of my own, and I had to take a step back and go, okay, who do I know in my family that even though, like, no matter what, down to it, like you always say, is always going to be there, will always be truthful.
Yeah. You always need someone in your corner.
Who's always going to, like, root back? And I'm not saying,
who's your compass?
Yes, who's my compass? And I'm also going to say, like, I understand the difference of a compass and constantly fucking somebody over and expecting you back. I know the difference between that, and I know that is not the same. And I'm saying that because other people should know that, too.
Yeah.
I'm mentally mature enough to say that.
You're my compass, even though you're crazy and all over the place.
Yeah, we both are, though. Point is that I told her that I chose that. I chose, even though I did not actually know all the facts, I had the most gutty feelings.
The facts about my parents.
About what was going on, and then all of a sudden how, and ironically enough, and what upsets me the most is because I'm not going to say names.
I don't want to correct you, it's just I'm making sure, because if we are going to spill my tea.
Yes, we are going to spill your tea.
Then you're forcing me, but I also have to just make sure
I'm
we have
sorry
it
I'm
all.
forcing you.
No, it needs to come out.
I'm not forcing you, I'm kind of just...
You want me to, and I understand that.
This actually kind of teeter-totters with it.
Yes. But either way, you knew something shady was happening.
I knew a lot of shady things, and I told Robin, like, shady things in the family are happening, and I told her that now that I told her basically, because I didn't want to make it too obvious, because I didn't know. I know that our, like, grandma and your family likes to spill tea, and I don't know. I know that.
So it's like you knew something, but you didn't know if it was all true.
I will say, like, I know Peyton and I call each other Cheech and Chong, but I will say my Chong, and you know who, like...
Yep.
I know that is my, like, OG person.
So someone in my family is your...
Yes, I lived with her. She was one that you actually have, like, I'd...
All right, sorry everybody. I know you're not gonna realize it, but until I tell you, but I'm having some issues with my equipment, so we had to figure out where we were at and go from there. So Abigail was basically talking about my name being stained. I guess is a good way to put it.
Actually, like, I know you guys know what we were talking about to update us, and because we're all over the place, to update you guys.
No, you are all over the
place. We were basically talking about how, my family on both sides even, but mainly this Masty side right now, have bad reputations, and how all my family's from Pulaski, and how so now I'm becoming my own person, making my own name, own reputation, and I have this cousin. So basically, she's coming in that night crying, asking for information, and I tell her, hey, the family drama, there's some unsavory things happening that I didn't know how to feel about. And my
because you're in the middle of it.
Yes, and my Chong, as I said before, I felt like I tried to talk to her about it when the things that like that first phone call with that.
Oh my God! What's happening right now?
So when that first phone call happened, that happened, and then I got very sick to my stomach because I saw like the I saw the disgrace of it, but then I was like confronted with a lot of emotions.
Well, yeah,
So then
because you were also in that business when all of this was happening, so
and
you didn't know how to.
Already like living there. I felt a lot of jealousy from Chong, especially with the relationship that I had with Grandpa. So that hurt me a lot, and so with that being said, that was not helping things at the bar. And the more that I worked and the more responsibility that I was given, not only at work but at home, when I started driving the new truck around and I was the only woman doing that, and I was so young, just got my license and all this, and like
this is when you were living with my parents.
This was, yes, you know, like the jealousy, like all that, it really did a damper. And so, you know, all I told Robin was that, you know, my Chong, I was expressing my feelings and things, and she was supposed to be that one person, and like we had no personal space where we were living or anything at that time. I said we were about to take like a lot of big steps as like the relationship that we had.
Yeah.
And so I told her, you know, with that, and these were basically my exact words. I like was not giving any detail at all. But very vague descriptions.
Yeah.
I was like, you know, we were about to take a lot of big steps together, in my opinion, like her being
your Chong you're talking about.
Yes, my Chong, like her
she was
being
your
mom,
best friend, your mom like figure.
She took me in knowing like everything that was going on with Dad, working at the bar, and I was telling Robin how like we weren't getting along very well, and then she was getting like this house, and I was supposed to move in, and that's like a big step for her.
Yeah.
Having me move in, and I realized that, but that was also a big step for me as well. And so like it was just a lot. And I just felt like, you know why I left. Point is that I told Robin, like, I just felt like I was not being listened to. I was not like getting the things that I needed as a young person there. It was a lot. I felt like it was way too much. Like I put myself.
It is a lot of responsibility.
Yes, like and it was like cool. I think that I do think of myself, especially now that I am an adult. Yeah, but back then I was definitely an adult when I shouldn't have had to be, and I wish them as the adults who saw that and acknowledged that, what I needed and what I was basically voicing to them was like, hey guys, I need to be a child right now.
So you were kind of basically getting to see what I had to go through.
Yes, and I was telling Robin this. Like, I was telling Robin, like, hey, you know, I told them that I feel like I need to be a child right now, and I'm not getting that out of life. I feel like since I moved into my dad's, it was a lot. Like, I was being this adult working, and I had this mindset, and I was going through a lot, and I was never able to actually process it, and I need this from you guys. And they, like, just didn't give me the response I wanted, so then I left. And I told Robin that. And so she's like, oh, yeah, I understand. And she acted, like, very, like, understanding about that.
Yeah.
So I told her, and the thing, and I've never given Robin a hug, and, like, she's asked many times. And there's been times when I was, like, 16, 17, when I lived at the bar.
Yeah.
Picking her and the crew up at night, being their DD, because they're too fucked up at Corner Bar or the Swamp or wherever they are.
Yeah.
And guess what? I never cared, because you know what? I was old enough and I understood, and I would rather know that my Chong got home that night instead of biking with them somewhere like they would have done. I would rather know that they all got home safe, because I am that person and I do care. And so she knows that, right? And so then she goes, you know what, Abby, can I have a hug? And I was like, you know what? It was nice actually, like, talking to you.
Yeah.
But I told her, just, like, don't be telling people my family and my business and that stuff, because, Robin, I do know how you can be, and I don't like that. And she's like, no, I understand. And I'm like, well, thank you, like, so much, and I'm not trying to be offensive, but I'm really not. I'm just a brutally honest person. And she's like, yeah, I understand. So that's when I get 3 days later, 3 days later, in my bar. And I'm sorry to say, like, my bar, but technically, like,
yeah, I know what you're talking about. When you were at Jen's.
Yes, when you're my stomping grounds, where I work, I drink, I hang out, I associate. And you're telling my boss, call me, I'll tell you all about it. When I looked at Jen and I saw her look Robin in the eye and genuinely go, I won't be calling you later. do not call me. I'm well aware of who her family is because I look into who's working at my bar.
Yeah.
I know who her family is, and it's not my business. I won't be calling you. I'm letting Abby make her own name and her own reputation
I love that.
here.
I love that.
That was the day, and don't get me wrong, just like anybody on earth, obviously everybody has bad things said about them.
Yeah.
When I have, like, even my coworkers, and I put them in their place, when my customers come in saying bad things about either my other coworkers or about Jen,
yeah,
I always tell them, you know what? My number one thing, I tell them, I love working for Jen. She's awesome. She is an amazing person, and I will work here no matter what happens because that is like family. She treats
well,
me
not
as
only
family.
that, she gave you like she basically stood up for you, saying,
She stood
do
up
not
for me,
smear her
and
name because she's trying to
exactly.
make her own name, even though she came from that family.
Exactly.
Doesn't mean diddly
and,
squat.
Like, the thing that showed me the most, though, and that I appreciated the most out of that moment is not only that she stood up for me, is that, she does know my family. She not only knows the Mass East Side, she knows the Kozlowskis.
She knows me.
She knows all of them guys, and like she knows my cousins, my dad's friends.
Yeah, she knows everybody.
All of that stuff, and she's still knowing all those things and the person that I could be today. I could have been an alcoholic. I could have been a drug addict. I could have been all these things.
Yeah.
She still chose to go, well, I'm going to give this girl a shot. And then she did, and then she is constantly, telling me good things.
And so does that end up making you want to show her that, hey, I appreciate you, so I'm going to work harder?
And when
that's the way it should be.
She's a busy lady. And so when I hear people, like I said, with the drink menu and trying to bring people back, and, with only the older crowd being in there, and I've been telling you lately, I'm sad because I don't see the young crowd out anymore, and I want to
I saw old people when I went there.
I want to do that not out of pity, not because I think that Jen's doing a bad job, none of that. I'm doing that because Jen gave me an opportunity when she could have chose not to.
Now, my question that is, like, just to get back on track, does Jen actually know, like, the juicy...
About the bar?
The biggest tea that needs to be spilled, even though I don't want to, but it's a need. Yeah.
No, because like I said,
you chose not to tell her.
Because I don't go around telling people things. Just like as a bartender, and I will say this for, any of my customers who may be listening, so I say I plug. But when people come in, I am a bartender. And anybody knows that a part of bartending, you hear gossip, you see shit, you talk shit. But I'm a brutally honest person, and one reason why my customers either love or hate
is because of that.
Most of the time is love, is because of that.
Yeah.
With that being said, you can tell me stuff, and I'll be like, fuck that person, I'm not going to go and tell people what you said. I'm not going to tell people.
You'll tell me.
I'll tell my mom, but we won't come on to the, we won't go, I'm not going to go around and tell people's business. Most of the time, one of the reasons why
technically we are right now because we have the spilling the tea.
But that's a
but
little
either way.
But point is that as a bartender, I take all that information in, and that's my entertainment. I watch true crime. I watch horror films. I don't need reality TV when
you're living it.
Job.
You're living it.
I don't need a lot of friends when I go to the bar and I have all that drama there. That's all I need. And one thing that I like about my customers at this bar versus the other bars was that a lot of them never understood those boundaries. When I tell people and they try to talk badly upon a family, I'll be like, maybe sometimes if I have a bad experience with them, people will be like, I have the same thing, but whatever. But if somebody's coming in and I hear 3 rows down, this person sucks, and I hate that same person, I'm not gonna, people are.
You're not gonna feed into it. Yeah.
Exactly.
But
don't be that person.
But so now, not to cut you off, but we have ran quite long. on here, which is actually great because we're catching up. But before we end, this will be part 1 because you talked quite a bit about my parents and
the breakup
their bar
and all of my,
But no, I'm getting
change.
to part 2.
Yes.
So part 2 is basically going to be extremely hard for me, but you have been helping me along with, everybody else get through it. It's long overdue, and if my parents aren't going to hear it, at least one other person besides us will hear the truth.
Well,
and nothing but the
one thing
truth.
I would like to share about this next topic that we are about to get on.
Oh, we're gonna spill some tea.
I would like to say, for your behalf, I'm very, very proud of you, and I know
For
I'm
me?
gonna speak. I'm proud of you.
Why?
For what you're about to do, because of the fact that it's not easy. I actually, one of my regulars who have become one of my friends recently, I have actually been able, in my opinion, and she gave me a hug, and she basically told me the same thing of like, if it weren't for you, you're a very old soul, and if it weren't for you to tell me these things and be here to give me this advice and have this look on it, I would not have made it through this, because her mother, or her father, had just passed.
Oh.
And her sister is now doing the same thing, and the thing that she's
thing that I'm about to spill.
And she waits till I'm really until I'm empty bar basically to come in. And she was crying on my break to me one day, saying how like, I don't understand how my dad is dying of cancer, and he was like once this Olympian, this very strong, like he's a power lifter for the Olympics and all this stuff. She's like, I don't, it was really hard watching him go from that to the dad who, threw us around and all this, to me sitting on the side of his bed and him dying, and watching my sister care only about his money and all this. And so I told her, I'm like, at the end of the day, all you can do is be proud of the person you were there for him. You were there for him every day, and it sucks to look at the fact that your sister wasn't, but you were, and that's what matters. You're not there for the money. You don't care. And she looked at me, she said, I don't care if I get anything.
I didn't care if I got anything.
I could care less. And I told her, and that's what matters at the end of the day.
It does.
And so with that being said, the reason why I'm happy and so proud of you is because there are a lot of people, way too many, and I've been talking about this, especially as a past CNA. One of the reasons why I stopped doing that job is because of reasons like this. So I feel it's something that a lot of people need to talk about more.
Yeah.
Because it is something that's
called elderly abuse.
Yes, it is an elderly abuse.
And that is what we are about to spill.
It's something that happens statistically, literally, Google it as you're listening.
It is
70%
ridiculous.
of the time and all over the place.
And honestly, I wasn't even going to go into this topic, and I did not even foresee this today going the way it did. But I'm feeling a little bit of courage, so I think it's time.
Yes.
So if you guys got through all of today, I just like to say thank you.
The emotional roller coaster and the brain scramble as you usually get tuning into spilling the tea.
Well, that's mostly because of you.
Yes,
honestly. But honestly, though, thank you for tuning into what we are now turning into part 1. And listening to us today. We couldn't do any of this without you guys. Check out my Facebook page, Chaotic Harmony, and give her a like. You can find more episodes on there as well. If you would like to help support my podcast journey, all you got to do is click on the support the show link that is attached to this episode. And because of all the issues I've been having with this episode, it would be greatly appreciated because I need to upgrade some of my equipment big time. Every donation helps me tremendously. And last but not least, embrace the weird and make normal feel boring.
Bye.
Bye.